I'd like to call our public hearing for the Quincy Public Schools fiscal '24 budget. At this point, I'd ask the superintendent to call the roll.
Mr. Begoli? Present. Mrs. Cahill? Present. Mr. Gattro? Present. Mrs. Hubley? Present. Mrs. Lebo? Present. Mr. Santoro? Present. And Mayor Koch.
Thank you. So at this time, I'd open it up for members of the public. Anybody who wants to speak on the fiscal '24 budget? This is different from 2009, 10, and 11, I can tell you. They're lined up down the street. One more call. Anybody to speak on the fiscal '24 Quincy Public Schools budget? Seeing none, we'll adjourn the public hearing.
Welcome, everybody. We're here for our Special Education Subcommittee meeting, Wednesday, May 31st. We're here at 6:02 p.m., Coddington Building, and we're going to open up with our first agenda item is the North Quincy High School LEAP program update. You may continue.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
It's good to see some familiar faces here I've known for a long time. I want to thank you for inviting us. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on behalf of the program. And I'm going to start with my presentation, okay? Okay. My name is Lou Marcucci. I'm the transitional teacher for the LEAP program. I want to introduce my paraprofessional, Ms. Tara Hastings Haley, who's here to assist. Over here. I have another paraprofessional, Ms. Amy Chow. I want to recognize her as well. The LEAP program is designed for students with autism or intellectual disabilities, ages 18 to 22, who have matriculated from high school and want to continue their secondary education. Our mission is to provide a unique and meaningful educational experience that will help students develop the necessary life skills in order to successfully transition from school to the working community. Our vision is that our students will lead meaningful and purposeful lives after the completion of the program. The program will emphasize community-based instruction and work experience with a focus on the development of the following skills. The first and probably the most important skill we focus on every day from the beginning of day one is our work ethic. And we strongly believe all of our students will benefit greatly from developing a work ethic and having the ability to take pride in doing a job and doing it well. We also emphasize self-determination and self-advocacy skills. We emphasize the self-determination by teaching our students that it's important, no matter how difficult the task, to stick with it, and eventually they will be able to perform the task routinely, and they'll get a lot of gratification from that. And we also emphasize self-advocacy. We want our students to have a voice and to be able to develop communication skills with others, and especially asking for help and also taking constructive criticism and responding to praise. So that's very important. We also work on social skills, which is a big part of our day. It's important for the students to understand that when they meet someone and they make a first impression, that impression will last. And we also teach them how to get along with each other, and by teaching them the social skills, it helps emphasize the teamwork that we need to successfully run the program. And lastly, the independent living skills, which is part of our program. It's kind of built in. It's our mechanism of how we train the students before they actually get them out into the community. The independent living skills are important because our students understand that these are the skills they're going to take with them when they leave the LEAP program for the rest of their lives. Applied academics. Our students participate in a variety of lessons and activities. We work on financial literacy and money skills. We want them to understand the value of money and how important it is to manage money, and when they go out into the community, how to be safe with when they have their own money and they're spending it at a store. So we do a lot of role play with that. We also work on hygiene and nutrition. And we emphasize that it's important for them to take care of themselves because a healthy body, it means a healthy mind. And so we talk about that a lot in school. We also talk about workplace behaviors, social skills, and getting along with others. The workplace behaviors are important because when we go out into the community, they understand that they're representing the LEAP program. So it's not just about themselves, it's about the entire program. And the social skills, like I said before, very important. And the getting along with others, it's like a little family. So we have our own little times where getting along can be difficult, but that's a good opportunity for us to manage those skills. Again, developing a work ethic, I think that's probably the most important thing, because without the work ethic, they would struggle on some basic tasks. And with the work ethic, I tell them that this will open doors for them if you have a good work ethic. When you apply for a job or you go some volunteer somewhere, people will notice how hard you're working. We do job exploration, so we do a variety of exercises where we look at different jobs, what the qualifications are, how would you get that job, how would you apply for that job, and so forth. And at the end, we do a resume. So we try to develop a basic resume, and we have 4 years. So in the first year, it's a very basic resume because they're actually going out into the community and developing those skills. And then by the time they leave, they have a pretty well-tuned resume, and we hope that it'll represent all that they've done in the program. We also have, this year, we have a great opportunity because COVID kind of disrupted it. We have an opportunity where we work with Work Inc., and I know some of you people are familiar with that. We have a young gentleman, much closer in age than me to the students. He comes in, he does a lot of things on the computer with the kids, practice interview skills, job search and job application. He does a fantastic job with them. Another important thing we do is travel training. We use the MBTA a lot, but we also walk in the community. And the travel training is important because they learn time management skills, because they need to be able to figure out how to get somewhere on time. And being on time is very important. So with that, we go over the bus schedule, the train schedule, what stop to get off. So it's a year-long process, and we've had some pretty good success with that this year. We actually have 2 students who travel every day using the train and the bus to and from Southwest Middle School, and they stay in contact with me along the way by text message, but they're doing a fantastic job, and neither one of them wanted to even attempt this, but now they're doing it on their own. Pretty proud of them. We also had a unique experience this year, which I will talk when I show the slide a little bit more about, a cooperative learning experience that just developed out of thin air. Basically, we went down to the nursing teacher, Julie Norton, who's fantastic, by the way, great addition to North. We went down to ask her to clean her classroom, and we were able to develop a relationship, which I'll talk about in another slide. Okay, so this is a look at our schedule. It's not exactly what we do, but it's, without getting too wordy and complicated. So we start out our day at 7:45. We have homeroom, obviously. And then we always do an applied academic skill, whether it's verbal, written, paper and pencil, video. So we always do something until about 8:30. And 8:30, we wrap up that lesson, whatever the daily lesson is, and then we prepare to go out into the community and volunteer. And that takes a little bit of effort. We've gotten really good at it, so it doesn't take quite 10 minutes anymore. They have to prepare themselves with the supplies that they need, put on the proper uniform, and they know their assignments, and we just rehash it real quick. Then from 9 approximately to 12:10 for most of the program, the students then travel to the various sites that I will talk about in a few minutes, and they stay there approximately till about 11:30 or so, and then they travel back. So that's why they try to get back just in time for lunch. We do have a couple of students who stay in the volunteer a little bit longer than that. Then they come back and they have lunch, and then from 12:45 to 2:15, you'll see in the following slides that we do a lot of in-school training, transitional training, and like I spoke about, the pre-EDGE training with Work Inc., well, we do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays for about an hour and a half each session. Okay, so here's an example of some in-school training that we do. The boy to your right, I guess, cleaning the classroom, his name is Rami. He does a fantastic job, hard worker, and this is one of the in-school training where, we learn new tasks. The kids learn these tasks by a lot of modeling at first and repetition. It's just how we have to do it. We do things over and over and over, and until they really get a good understanding of what the word thorough means. It's a big word with me. That we do it thoroughly, and they get it. Am I right? Thoroughly? Yeah. Okay. And this is James Haley. He's here tonight. He's vacuuming one of the classrooms. So obviously these are applied daily living skills that they can take home. We have Andrew Nickerson, washing and drying clothes. Andrew's here this evening. Another skill that they can take home with them. We hope they volunteer sometimes to do the laundry for their parents. I always encourage them to go home and do something good for mom, so this is one thing they can do. This is Alex DeWolf, folding and hanging the laundry. It's just another skill that they can take for the rest of their life. Another in-school training that we do, very important to the school, is we are the number one reason why the teachers can make their photocopies. We make sure the entire building is stocked with the photocopy paper through the entire building. And it's quite a task because the paper, as you know, is very heavy. So at first the kids struggle with it, but teach them how to bend and lift. And we deliver approximately, when we do it, we'll probably deliver 98 cases of paper in one day, all around the building. And we do that, at least once a month or more, especially in the science department. I don't know what they do with the paper, to be quite honest with you. Another task we do, which is vital to the school, is we do recycling. We run the entire recycling program. Our students, along with the paraprofessionals, I can't thank them enough, because without this, we'd have a lot of recyclables around the building, and it's quite a task, and they do a fantastic job. And another thing we do in the school, we do volunteer in the school store. Even though we've moved on from the school store, there is a period during the day that they need help, and when they do, we go in and do that, and we help restock the supplies and clean it. And then we have a few of the students who actually count the money and help tally the money for the day's receipts, and it's just a good overall experience. So at this time, I want to take a pause, and I want to introduce a couple of my students and have them speak, and then I'll go back to the presentation, if that's okay. I'd like to introduce Sean.
Good evening. My name is Sean Ryan, and I'm a student in the LEAP program at North Quincy High. In my free time, I like to create cartoons on my iPad. I also like to watch videos on YouTube about animals. In class, I learn about money, hygiene, and nutrition. We talk about working and doing a good job. I like to use the laptop and learn about different jobs and practice interview questions. I also finish my resume and job training skills activities. I volunteer in the cafeteria at North Quincy High. I work there with my classmate Rami. We help the others workers by running the dishwashing station. We also help prepare snacks, serve the lunch, and clean the tables. I recently started volunteering at Karen's Corner and the Edge Hair Salon. I work there with my classmate Maggie. We are having fun putting jewelry together and folding clothes. We also dust the shelves and sweep the floors. I want to thank everyone for inviting us for the school committee tonight.
Next, I'd like to introduce Chloe.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chloe Pierre-Paul. I am a student in the LEAD program at North Quincy High. In my free time, I enjoy listening to music, going for long walks, and sleeping. I also like watching movies on Netflix. In class, I learn how to be responsible, work hard at all my jobs. I also learn how to eat better food, exercise, to stay healthy. In school, I help out in the attendance office. Miss Catherine and Miss Ronnie are very kind to me. They make me laugh. I help give passes to the students who are late. I like to vacuum and keep the office nice and clean. This year, I volunteered at the YMCA where I clean the tables, chairs in the lobby. I also clean the tracks, the locker rooms. I enjoy that better than working outside groundskeeping. I also like working at Cardington Building with Miss Tara. It's a nice place and everyone is so friendly. Today I am training at the nursing home in the Southern Artery with Miss Amy. This summer I will be working there independently after my training is done. I want to thank the school committee for joining us tonight.
Okay, I gotta take a pause from the entertainment there, and we will go back to the presentation, and then we'll go back to a couple more of the students, okay? Why I stopped at this particular moment with the presentation was because we had a unique experience this year, and I'll tell you a quick little story. I won't be long, I promise. We were looking for opportunities at the beginning of the year to do some more things within the school. So we found out that the nursing program had just gotten brand new carpeting in their classroom, and it's a big classroom. So we went down and approached Miss Norton, a very brand new teacher to the building, and we asked if we could clean her classroom. And she was like, "You guys will do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. This is what we're here for. We're always willing to do something, for the building." So we went down, and she was very impressed with how the kids followed direction and how thorough they were with all the cleaning that they did, and she was like, "Wow, I can't believe how good these kids, do the job." And I'm like, "Well, they work really hard." So after a while of getting to know Miss Norton, we found that she had a need, and the need was she sends kids out to clinical, and she had half her students would go out to clinical, and half the students would be back. Problem was she didn't really have anyone to supervise the kids in clinical. So we came up with an idea that half the kids that were back at school would come to the LEAP program, and we started a little kind of like a buddies group. And that basically snowballed into this fantastic partnership that existed all the way up until the end of the school year, where this was a great touch. The seniors asked Miss Norton, they really wanted to say goodbye to our kids. So they came back and they said goodbye before they graduated. It was awesome. It was fantastic. We loved it. Okay. All right. So let me get into the volunteer placements that we currently have. So obviously everyone knows that we come to the Cardington office and kids really enjoy coming here. They always come with a smile and they love engaging with all the staff here. It's a great place for them. And Miss Tara really keeps close eye on them, and they've actually, I'm going to give you a statistic, according to Miss Tara, they've done over 1,000 bags of shredding this year. Pretty good, right? Deserves applause. The next site is food services at North Quincy High School and Southwest Middle School. Our students have immersed themselves into these two sites, and can't say enough about both of the food service staffs. They welcomed us with open arms, and they're just thrilled to have our kids. And it's not like a symbolic position. They have them working, and they have them working pretty hard. Matter of fact, they'll come back and tell me, "I worked really hard today." And I'm like, "I know you did." And then we have a couple of students who work in the custodial services. One of them is here today, Andrew Nickerson, and they work at Southwest Middle School and Parker Elementary. And again, the head custodians of those two buildings are fantastic with our kids. And at first, they're like, "Okay, so what can I expect?" I go, "You can expect anything. Just show them what they need to do, and they're going to do it. And the head custodians there really love having our kids there. Okay, and then we work at the South Shore YMCA facility. I mean, the Y is the greatest place, right? And why not be there? I can personally tell you that the members in the Y, when they see our kids working and cleaning and engaging with them, they just get the biggest smile on their face, and then they'll tell me privately, "Wow, your kids are great. They're doing a great job." And then I tell them, and they always go, "Yeah, I know. They're doing a good job." You know, they're not that modest. So it's a great spot for us to be. Thousand Southern Artery is a new site for us this year, and we have Maggie who works there with Miss Amy, and Miss Amy's been training her, and she's doing a great job. And now Chloe is, because we just opened up the Karen's Corner in the Ledge salon, so the Edge salon. So I had to move Maggie from there to put her at the new site, and I asked Chloe if she was willing to go to Thousand Southern Artery, and she says, "Anything you want." That's what she says to me. "I'll do whatever you want." And she's doing a great job there. We also have 16C Restaurant. We go there. We do a fantastic job. You'll see some pictures of these sites coming up. Karen's Corner, again, a great site where Sean and Maggie are working the Edge, and we're also going to be doing Kilroy's Restaurant, because now that you know, they're right beside each other. So we can extend out that work. And plus, Kerry, if you all know Kerry Lynch, right? So she loves the kids, and as soon as I asked her, "Can we do clean Kilroy's too?" She goes, "You kidding me? Absolutely." So we'll be there soon. Okay. Right, so here's some pictures. So here's Maggie Christiani. She does dusting and cleaning the cafeteria. The best part about this day is that she engages. She's great. I don't know if any of you know Maggie. She's got a great personality, big smile, inquisitive, and she does a fantastic job. And the residents there really love her. Okay, and now they're getting to know Chloe too, so it's a bonus. Here's 16C. This is Patrick McMillan in action. Fantastic mopper. One of the first things I had to teach him was to keep his feet on dry land. If you notice in the picture, his feet are on dry land, right? So they're not walking all over what he just mopped. This is Chen Rong, who he's wiping the tables and the chairs, and the kids this is kind of funny. So when we went in and we just did that, I said, "Well, we have 2 more areas to clean." They were, "Well, what's that?" I said, "Well, we got to go into the bathrooms." And they all looked at me. They were like, "The bathrooms?" I go, "Yeah. Clean the bathroom at home?" Some said yes, some said no. I go, "Well, we're going to learn how to clean a bathroom." So we do the bathrooms, of course, with gloves and all the things we need. And now, fantastic. They do a fantastic job with that. Okay. Like I spoke about, the custodial services, that's Kevin. Kevin's one of the students I was talking about earlier who takes the train and the bus to Southwest. And if you know anything about Kevin's first reaction to anything is, "I don't think so." Now, he comes out to me every day. Tara would testify to this. Tells me everything about his day, what time they got on the train, the bus, and how their day went. It's just been a real confidence booster for him and his classmate, Brian. And you can see a picture of Kevin there at Southwest. And you got Andrew next to Kevin. Andrew's going to speak in a moment. Okay. South Shore YMCA, this is our student, Brian. Brian is very limited English, but he understands thoroughly, clean, and he loves working there because he loves looking at everybody, and he doesn't particularly like the cleaning. He does a good job at it, but I give him an opportunity to engage with other people there, and he really likes the socialization because he's really trying to develop his English language skills. So it's a good way to do that in a real life setting for him. And then this group here you see outside, James is one of them. Very important. I explained to the kids how important YMCA is to our community. And, people tend to get a little lazy and they litter. And so we try and do a good job every day to police the area and make sure that when you go into the grounds of the Y, that it's a neat place. And again, that's, I tell them that's how you make a first impression, right? So the Y's first impression is the parking lot, believe it or not. So the kids work really hard at keeping the YMCA clean. Cottington Special Ed office here, you got Chloe with her beautiful smile. Just happy to be there. You know, and again, the whole social aspect when they come in, they tell me who they saw today and who spoke to them. They really appreciate who comes in and visits them while they're doing their job. And that's Alex DeWolf and Chen Rong. As you can see, no lie, the 1,000 bags is really the truth. So they did a great job this year. Okay. We also work at the Quincy Public School Food Service, and here's Sean Ryan and Rami Hablaj. They're at North Quincy. So they run that dishwashing station with Kirk, who has a great relationship with them. And a quick anecdote, he loves to do word of the day with them. And then they come back and they tell me the word that they learned of the day. The staff there couldn't be nicer. They really love having our guys. And then in the other picture, that's Jean Petrone. She's the head of the kitchen in Southwest. I've had a great partnership with her over the years. And that's Brian Pham. He's the other boy young man who is doing the travel training with his buddy Kevin. And he couldn't be prouder. They both couldn't be prouder to be able to go to work and back from work by themselves. They really love it. Okay, before we go into the next slide, I want to finish up with our students. They have two more. So I'm going to introduce Andrew.
Oh, sorry, that wasn't good. Thank you, guys. All right, so right now, good evening. My name is Adrian Nicholson, and I'm a student in the WE program at North Quincy High. In my free time, I enjoy listening to music, and also I watch Boston Celtics, the Blues, the Patriots, and Red Sox. I like to watch Harry Potter movie on my iPad. In class, I worry about working hard and doing a good job. In school, I work in the school store, create and recycle the supply. We do a very important job by doing all of the recycling in the interbuilding. We also deliver paper to all of the recovery rooms. I volunteer as a junior custodian at Parkland Middle School. I walk to my job and back to school every day. I'm responsible for keeping the stairs well clean. I clean tables and chairs too. When the weather is good, I clean the school ground. I really like working with custodians who are both named James. I want you to thank you for inviting us tonight.
Good job, Jim. Good job.
Now listen, hold on just a minute. Did I miss it? It's a band.
You did a good job. Excellent.
And we got job ways to do. Good job, guys.
I'll put your phone away.
We do it.
Okay, we're going to finish with James.
James, go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening. Can this thing even hear me?
We can hear you.
All right.
Okay. Nice and loud.
Good evening. My name is James Haley. I am a student at the LEAP program at North Quincy High. In my free time, I enjoy listening to music and doing animation on my computer. I also like cooking with my mom and my grandma. I like to make tacos and burritos with ground beef. I like them extra spicy. This year, I have learned about time management, teamwork, and having a good work ethic. I have also learned to be more independent. I do a good job vacuuming and cleaning some classrooms and attendance office. In school, I like doing recycling and copy paper delivery. I also help do the laundry, keeping my work clothes clean. I volunteer at the YMCA and the 16C restaurant. I work with some of my classmates, keeping the YMCA grounds free from litter. We also clean the track and the family locker room. At 16C, we clean the entire restaurant and set up the tables with silverware and salt and pepper shakers. When we are done, it looks and smells great. It is ready for business. I want to thank you for inviting us tonight.
Okay, once again, thank you very much.
I just wanted to share a little bit about what's next and what we've been working on from the district level. we've been meeting with Tim Cahill over at the Chamber of Commerce to help us expand to some more business partners. We came up with like a wish list of all the places that we were hoping to try to get into, and he used all of his contacts and kind of was calling people on his cell phone and emailing people and trying to help us reach out. We were posted on the Chamber of Commerce website, explaining the program, inviting people to contact us if they were interested in having students work in their businesses. And as you can see, these are just some of the places that we are looking at making connections for the summer and into the fall. So we have like the Staybridge Hotel, Granite Telecom Communications, the golf courses, the cemeteries, the downtown district through Mary Cahill. We even connected with the Free Jacks, so all kinds of interesting things. And we just want to give an extra thank you to Mayor Koch because he actually gave the green light for all of our students to work at any of the city jobs in any of the downtown district things that are going on. So good things to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Students were amazing. You guys did a great job. I'm so happy to hear all of your hard work, and everything you're doing is amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to open it up for questions from my colleagues. Mr. Bergoli, did you have a question first?
I want to shake your hands with you guys.
Do we do windows? We do. We actually do windows. Yes.
Do they get paid for some of the work?
Unfortunately, our students, it's strictly volunteer right now. We would like that eventually, but right now it's volunteer. Yep.
I was the counselor for 1 year at this program when I was at North, Jim Lynch. And it wasn't as extensive as it's evolved into, but it was a great program. I met some terrific kids and parents. So I'm so glad that it's continued and expanded the way it has under your leadership and Sarah's and many others in the SLT. So keep up the good work. I'm really, really proud of the kids. Great job. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Santoro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a question, Mr. Marcucci, on the academic curriculum. Is this something that you people designed, or is it something that we pick up from somewhere else?
For the most part, it's my design. I try to fit the academics and the lessons to the skills that I'm trying to develop with the kids. We do have, a litany of videos and self-made curriculum that I may steal from other ideas and then tweak them and make them my own. So I can't take full credit for everything that I teach, but yeah, it's pretty specific to the needs of the students, which I think is important. And then we do, like I was saying earlier, we have Work Inc. now coming in. So COVID, of course, interfered with a lot of things, but now we have a great relationship back with them. And we have a really nice young gentleman who comes in, and he's really kind of taken the technology part. I get the white hair, so technology is not my greatest thing, but he comes in and he does a great job with all the job skill stuff that he's doing with the kids. So it's a good opportunity to be working with Work Inc. as well.
It may be something you may want to publish. It seems to be pretty successful.
Yeah.
The other thing is just a comment to our guests tonight. What you did tonight, many people cannot do. They cannot get up and speak in front of people. And each of you did that very well. And so for that, I congratulate you, and great job. Keep it up.
Mrs. Lebo.
Thank you. What a joy it is to have you guys here. It really is such a joy to see your faces and to see your families here and to hear from your own voices how things are going at school. This is an incredible program. I actually had the opportunity to bump into a few of them at North Quincy in the food service. I've been hanging around there a little bit, and it was amazing to see them. You just mixed in with everybody else, just doing their work, and took the break with everybody else and got it right back up. And it was amazing to see that it's really working. And I agree with Mr. Bergoli, who said it'd be nice if we could find a way to pay these kids. But maybe we'll have to work on that for the budget,
It'd be great.
next year's budget. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming, too.
Thank you.
Actually, quick question for you. How many students are currently in the LEAP program?
Well, we started out with 19, and through matriculation, we're down to about 11, 12. We've had some kids age out. As you know, they age out when they turn 22. And we had a few matriculate up to the college component of our program. So the numbers are now down. In the beginning of the year, it was 19. It was pretty hefty. Now we're down much more manageable. And next year, we're getting, I believe, at least 5, maybe 6 kids. So the number will be right back up around 17, 18, thereabouts, next year.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Mullin,
Oh, thank you. Did you want to say? I just wanted to thank Lou and Sarah and Miss Amy and Miss Tara for helping organize our LEAP students. I have to speak from personal experience as well as everyone in the Coddington building. It brings joy to us when we see the LEAP van pull up out in front of Coddington or see them walking over from Quincy College to come in and do their work here at Coddington. So Sean, Chloe, Andrew, and James, and the others that have joined the team here at Coddington have done an extraordinary job with regard to helping with our paperwork. Over 1,000 bags of recycled paper brought out of the Coddington building, all done because of the work of LEAP students, and we're very proud of that work. I also want to thank Tim Cahill and the Chamber of Commerce, as well as all of our business partners, President DeCristofaro for opening up Quincy College. It really is amazing to see our entire community coming together and opening their doors for our students, for our LEAP students, and for giving them the opportunity to get that real-life experience. We greatly appreciate it. I also want to thank all the parents who are here tonight to support our students because obviously they're an integral part in everything that we do and everything that our students accomplish here in the Quincy Public Schools. So Sean, Chloe, Andrew, James, great job tonight. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you at Coddington real soon. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Can we shake?
if the students would like
Get
to
a
come
picture.
up.
Sure.
You did a wonderful
Thank you so much.
Great job.
Thank you.
Good job, Chloe.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you so
Do you like John Williams?
Good to see you. Yes,
Nice job, Andrew.
Great
Good
job.
job, James.
Thank you, Sean. Great
Nice
job.
job. Nice job, Sean.
Well done.
Thank you. So moving on with our agenda. Next item on the agenda is our QPAC update with Ms. McGill, Ms. Wood. If you'd like to come forward. Love to hear all the wonderful things that are going on with QPAC. You can come right up to the microphones.
I think they're putting the slide.
Whoever needs to drive the slides, those are they need to be up there. Okay, perfect. You want me to drive it?
Yeah. here. I don't know what happened. All right, I'm just going to start. Ginger
Go
will be
right
in for a
ahead.
second. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you guys again. We are here to kind of give you a quick recap of our year and give you a couple ideas of our upcoming goals for 23-24. And I have to say, it was great to see the kids from the LEAP program. It's awesome. I do have a ton of questions. I wish we could have asked them, but and I would love to have a conversation at some point about what happens when they turn 22, because that's a big leap and there's a lot going on in that perspective. But so we are here, and I'm going to introduce our board because I'm not sure if we got to do that last time. I wasn't here, but I'm Sarah Wood, one of the presidents, and this is Ginger, my co-president. Is it?
Oh, we'd have to go there, yeah.
Okay. This is Darlene, our treasurer.
Hello, everybody.
And Melissa, our vice president. We are missing Amy, our secretary. So we have a pretty full board, which is great. We hadn't had one for a long time, so it's great to have so many parents helping and participating now. And we've got an even bigger group that have started joining our meetings and joining our support groups. It's been a really good year. So we're really excited about what's to come. So, yeah. So we, obviously, you guys all know who we are. We're QPAC. We are parents, every single one of us, of a special needs child or multiple. I have two. My oldest literally turned 18 2 weeks ago. So I'm in the process of all the guardianship fund and all that stuff. And he's autistic, and he's actually out of district at the South Shore Collaborative. And then my daughter is 15 at North Quincy High, and she's dyslexic, so I have two kids on IEPs. And I've been in Quincy, obviously, their whole entire life, so I've experienced Quincy Public Schools from the time Jack was 4 until now. He left Quincy when he was 8. So I think we are really working hard this year to really engage parents, get parents involved, hear what they're experiencing in the special education programs, things that are working, things that maybe aren't working. Every child is an individual. Every child has individual needs and problems, and sometimes they need a little extra support. And a lot of times, language barriers are a huge issue in Quincy, and especially when you get into IEPs and just the wording and the things that go into building an IEP, a language barrier can make a huge issue for those parents. So we're really trying to support parents in every way we can. And we also have really made a point of trying to help get our kids out in the communities. I know COVID was a huge setback for a lot of kids, but even before then, programs in Quincy were not very big. We still, and maybe we'll get some help from you guys, but we would really love to work with Quincy Rec on building some more programs for kids with special needs. There's so much that we could do, and it would be great if Quincy Rec would engage with us on that. I don't know why it's doing that. So we would love to see more programming for these kids during the winter. It's very difficult to find good socialization, good inclusion programs for our kids at this point. And Quincy is a big city. I think we can do that. So as a group, we're working really hard to start trying to engage more with the city and with families and getting them involved as best we can.
Oh, that's the end. Wait.
That-
Sorry, can I?
Yeah, that.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the achievements that we've
Yes.
had so far this year. And then we'll talk a little bit about goals for next year. Okay, so these were from this past year, some of our
Okay.
goals that we set at the outset.
Yep, so our goals for this past year have been to increase membership, which I feel like we have done. We do right now have our own, we're trying to to save Laura Owens from having to send all of our stuff for us. So we're
Thank
trying
you.
to build our own, and we appreciate her so much. But we're trying to build our own list. And I believe we're up to over 100 parents, which is great. And we're going to keep pushing. We've started to work on funding and figuring out fundraising for QPAC. We do have officially a checking account. We've worked with Mr. Drakeo on transportation and safety. The beginning of this year, there were definitely a few issues, but we've gotten some movement there. We also worked on different trainings through QPAC trainings for families and students. We've had a monthly presentation every month for the entire school year. We've had different presentations. Our last one was transition planning, which would go to our older students on working on things like guardianship, how to set up financial needs, figuring out what to do when you turn 22, all of those things. We did a great presentation. We worked with Mass Health, did a presentation for us on how to get Mass Health for your child if they need it. So we had a really great turnout for a lot of those, and it was really nice to see. So we will continue that next year. And then we've also had discussions about different staff trainings that may be useful for staff to learn more about how to handle students with special needs. So I think and translation. We worked a ton on getting translated materials out as best we could, making sure we had translators for people who came to our presentations. We offered it for every meeting, every presentation we've done. We made pamphlets in every language that we needed in Quincy, and we've handed them out to every school. So we've really tried to get as much information out there as we could. And that all goes into the community outreach. We've really tried hard. We've gone to some PTO meetings to speak to parents, just to let them know we're here, because it still seems like a lot of parents don't even know who we are or what we're here for. So we're just trying to get out there. We also worked on the dyslexia initiative because all the new testing that's been going on through QPS that you have started, we were trying to inform parents on what all that means, what your child may need if they are diagnosed with any type of learning issue, and then how you can go about getting services for your child. And then we also worked on using some of the ESSER funds. We created great programs with Sing, Explore, Create that Julie helped us to bring into. It started at Squantum School. It was an after-school program, which was great because none of our special needs students have ever, especially in the CARES, the younger elementary and middle school kids, have never been part of an after-school activity. They don't get to stay after school and participate in clubs or anything like that. So this was a music program run by a group of fabulous music therapists, and it's a group out of Rockland called Sing, Explore, Create, and they did after-school programs. They did a camp for February vacation and a camp for April vacation, which went fabulous. We had a lot of kids participate, and they're going to be coming in the summer to work with the kids at the extended school year program. So that they've been wonderful, and funds were used to pay for that program. And we're going to keep trying to come up with more stuff for these kids to have after school.
So these are just going into more detail. I didn't realize it was over 100 now members.
Yes, I'm
90.
sorry. I was giving you numbers last night and I didn't actually look.
And we also are starting to launch a website to hopefully increase membership. But it's still a challenge getting the word out.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to reach everyone. A lot of kids, especially in the elementary age, they all ride the buses, so you don't see parents as much in the schools, so there's not a whole lot of ways to engage with them. But we're trying to reach them as best we can, so.
And just a little bit about the funding, just that we did set up a bank account. Mrs. Cahill has been so helpful reaching out to us to help, and that's kind of a goal for next year, to work more closely with those in the community that are offering to help us with fundraising. And then I don't know if you want to go into detail or if you want to just move on to.
On the goals?
Transportation. This is still what we were doing over the year.
So this will be an ongoing goal for us for 23-24. So the great thing that happened this year is that Quincy QPS got more companies involved to cover the transportation needs for the special needs students. And that was great because we had more kids getting to school on time, and it was a much more functional system than had been going on since COVID. And that's been great. The problems that we see as ongoing are communication, lack of resources, and no official way to record delays or no-shows. So sometimes parents are getting phone calls at like 7 o'clock in the morning saying that the bus isn't coming, and they're on their own. And some parents don't have a way to get their children to schools, especially if they're out of district. And then there's been a lot of late buses and kids getting to school late, which with a lot of these kids, their schedule is gold. You cannot mess around with it. They need to be where they need to be on time, and they need to be there the way they know that they need to be there. So that's definitely something we would love to work with transportation and see how we can help to facilitate more communication between the parents, the bus company, and the transportation department, because some mornings it's the bus driver calling parents and telling them that they're not coming. And so some students can't go to school, and that's an issue. So I think that's something we'll be hoping to look into. We're actually going to put out a survey for the end of the school year to parents to see what their thoughts are, if they've had any issues with transportation, because we have had parents reach out, but we want to see what the extent is and see where we can help to maybe fix some of the little, I mean, it's all fixable. It's just trying to figure out what's the best way to do it.
This is where you can brag some more about Sing,
Yeah.
Explore, Create.
Sing, Explore, Create, they are fabulous. They do all kinds of things, and they've been willing to come out and work with us all along. Like I said, they did a February vacation program for us. It was a 3-day program. The kids loved it.
Was there
and
like a wait list, or like, because you
we
had to
did
do a
have-
small pilot?
Yeah, we did a small pilot, and then the second program in April, we actually opened it up to Della and the preschool students because we had so many preschool parents interested in participating. We ended up with an overabundance of preschool students wanting to participate, so we had to kind of cut the lists a little bit, and it worked out. I think we actually ended up without a waiting list because some of the kids dropped it, or some were trying to bring siblings, and that wasn't in the plan. So we ended up with really strong programs. And
We're
the
working
kids,
for the older kids, though, right? That was a bit of a challenge to get
yeah,
the
I'm
older
really
students.
trying to get the middle and high school kids involved in any type of programs. Like I said, I have an 18-year-old. He doesn't have any social groups or activities right now. Like I said, he's out of district. He's in Hull. And I would love to get him into programs in his own community so he can meet friends within his own town, city. So I've been really trying to reach those older kids, but after a certain point, it's hard because the older kids kind of get more complacent, and parents get frustrated with the way things went when they were younger, so they don't participate. So I'm really trying to reach some older students and hopefully get some programs going.
And monthly trainings. And the support group.
Yes, we also have a monthly support group. It meets once a month, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And that's a place where we've had parents come, and it's just a place to talk, to vent to other parents who are experiencing maybe something similar or have experienced the same issues. I mean, being a special needs parent in and of itself it's a lot. And sometimes it can be very isolating. So to have other people that you can just say the things you can't say to anybody else, it's a great space, and it's been a pretty good group. So
Like also a wonderful opportunity for learning. I feel like there's been a lot of valuable information sharing amongst the parents because some of these different programs or different benefits are just hard to find.
yeah,
So it's been really beneficial for that as well.
yeah. And speaking from my perspective as an older parent, an older child, it's hard to get information. Like I'm trying to figure out how to sign him. Do I sign him up for Social Security? What is he getting? What does he need? Where am I supposed to be going at this point for him? And that it's a lot of information. So you really have to have, and so it's great to talk to other people who have already done it, who can tell you where to go, who can just pretty much lead you in the direction you need to go. So these support groups are a great asset to parents. And there's some pictures from my son is the one right there in the middle with all the kids around him. Those are my other kids and my husband and myself. He's probably not too thrilled that we're all hanging on him. But that's the gingerbread houses. We do it every year. The past 2 years, we've started separating it. So the younger kids from pre-K, or actually, it might be actually kindergarten to 6th grade, come in one group. And then the second group is kids from 6th grade to 22. So we just try and do that out of respect for the older kids because they deserve space where they don't have to deal with little kids running around and screaming, and they get to be teenagers. And if they don't want to talk to you, they don't have to talk to you. You just sit there and decorate their gingerbread house.
And then we didn't get pictures up, but this was a great
Yeah.
event too.
Trunk or treat. This is our second trunk or treat. We did that at Wollaston School parking lot. We had a lot of our lovely people from QPS, Special Education Department, come and decorate their cars and hand out candy. And the kids loved it. It was nice because we try to make it sensory friendly and a little less noisy, and it's just more welcoming. And the parents love it because I think they also like to engage with other parents. Because like I said, parents don't get to see each other as much when you have special needs students because a lot of them take buses and they're just not flowing together. So it's nice to have those moments where you can kind of be talking to each other while your kids are running around and getting candy.
Talking about how they hate wearing costumes, for
Yes,
example.
Yes, and that's the other thing. You do not have to wear a costume to be there. My son does not like costumes. He will not wear one, but he loves to get the candy. So it is open to whatever you need and whatever you want. And it was great this year. I feel like we really did a great job with that. And we had a lot of kids there too.
We did, yeah.
All right. I'm trying to read it.
I know, and anybody.
So these are our goals for 23, 24. And we're getting a lot of input from parents. So we're trying to do as much as we can to create goals around what we're hearing and what we're seeing. So partner with the district to ensure parent representation as QPS prepares to open the Learning Center. So I think that's a really big one. When we said we were giving an update on the Learning Center, the amount of parents that showed up at that meeting, they want to know what's going on. They want to know what this Learning Center is going to be, how it may, they want to know how it may benefit them or how it may not benefit them. They want information. So I had spoken with Aaron and Julie back before in 2019 when this was first starting, and they had already said they were going to start a parent board to get information and input on what should go into the Learning Center. And that will hopefully continue next year when the school is actually ready and getting ready to start opening. So we're really looking forward to helping to help get the Learning Center up and running.
I would think too, if some of the goals are to share some of what the collaboratives have done to date at the Learning Center, that having parents on advisory boards that have their children at the collaboratives could also maybe be valuable to the district.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
A lot of the kids that are at collaboratives are kids that left because the CARES program wasn't working for them. So if the thought is to bring those students back, you may want to talk to those parents to see what it is about the collaboratives that works so well that should be brought into the Learning Center. So that's something that we're really excited to get working on. The other one we came up with, and I think across the board, parents will say this is an issue for them, create a standard to improve communication between caregivers and staff, starting with the CARES program, especially the sub-separate classrooms where the kids are nonverbal or may not have a lot of language. Parents have expressed concern that they don't hear what's going on with their child and they can't ask their child because their child cannot answer them. So they would like to see better communication back and forth between teachers and staff, speech and OT. A lot of these parents don't even meet the speech and OTs because they're not there when they go in for meetings, or they're not there like when they go in for parent-teacher conferences. So they never actually meet some of these people. So they just would like to know what's happening in their child's classroom during the day. So we would like to work on figuring out how we can make that a more plausible program. So this is collaborate with QPS and families to better understand the ongoing transportation challenges, identify gaps, and capitalize on what's working well. I think that's, like we spoke before about lateness and lack of extra bus drivers if someone is sick. That's something that we would love to talk about and see how we can help fix that problem. Collaborate with QPS to provide trainings to staff. We would love to see, and we know our paras, we're so excited, our paras got their contracts done, and I'm hoping it's happy and good. So we would love to see more trainings, especially around things like, especially CARES classrooms, behaviors are an issue. In fact, I believe a lot of times kids that leave the CARES program to go out of district, a lot of it is a behavioral issue and not having proper training on how to handle those behaviors. I'll speak from experience. My son very rarely will have a behavior, and the collaborative has a protocol in place. I am informed immediately that he had to be restrained. It's a safe restraint. Everybody in the classroom is fully trained. It's documented, and at the end of the day, I receive a paper that tells me step by step everything that happened. And that for me is huge, because as a parent of a child who's nonverbal and has special needs, you never want to think that your child is being harmed or put in any position where they could feel like they're being harmed. So to know that they're safe and to know that the people who are there are making sure that they're safe at all times and are communicating with him and watching time and everything, all of those things make him feel more comfortable, and it makes me feel like I can trust them because they're telling me what's happening.
And there are CPACs throughout Massachusetts that do provide training to staff, and the staff can get PDPs. So that is something we would love to talk more about, to be part of planning the trainings, and we've been able to get all of them for free, and then maybe put the trainings on for staff if possible. It's just a conversation we'd like to have.
And something else to add, right, is that last year during Epilepsy Awareness Month, I had reached out to Andrea Huar to see if at least the nursing staff and maybe some of the teachers would be interested in seizure first aid, because obviously these children are in all of the schools. And Andrea was interested and said that for next year we could certainly put it on the schedule, because the schedule is set so far in advance for the school year. So we just really want to work with the district to understand what the needs are and where we can help facilitate putting some of these items into action.
We had Puzzle Pieces, a counselor and a co-founder of Puzzle Pieces, speak as well about anxiety, child anxiety. I feel like that could benefit teachers for sure, because it's everywhere right now. That was a really good talk.
Yep, and the final one is we are going to continue community engagement. We're going to try and keep up with all of our community outreach, all of our programs like Trunk or Treat Gingerbread. We're having a resource fair, which we're hoping to happen either in the late fall, early winter. We're working on that right now. But so we just want to make sure we're here. We want to work with everyone. We want to collaborate. We want to make this QPS Special Education Department and the special ed classrooms as wonderful as we can and help everyone feel good about their schools. So, anything else?
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
the presentation.
That's it.
That was amazing. That was really good. Thank you so much for that. You guys are doing an awesome job. I can't even begin to have words to say how wonderful everything you said was. That was great. Thank you so much. I'm going to open it up to Mr. Bergoli.
Regarding the rec programs that you're looking at, or looking for, I'm on the Park and Rec Board. I'm the representative from the school committee. If you would just shoot me an email on my QPS account, I can bring those forward to Michelle.
Okay,
And we
yeah.
can-
I would love to have somebody, I've tried and it just hasn't worked. So maybe if I have someone else helping me to facilitate, that would be great.
I'll do the best I can.
Yeah.
And Julie, with transportation, parents have the option of not taking the vans, correct? And they can get reimbursed.
Yeah, I do that. My son's
You do?
never taken transportation. I drive him to Hull and back every day. But personally, the only reason I do it is because I had such trouble with the vans when he first started. So it just became better for me to drive him. And I can do it, but
Not every family can.
yeah.
I understood, yeah. But for those who
Yes, for
may have
those who
that
want
option,
to,
it's
yes.
It's a good option.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think an important point, because when I started, I didn't know that was an option, that there was reimbursement available until Sarah told me. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really important point to bring up.
All set, Mr. Bergoli?
I'm all set.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Cahill?
Thank you for everything you're doing, for your families and your own kids. And, it's important, but also for sharing all your experiences with everyone else so that they can learn from you. I guess my question would be, do you have all these goals that you're looking at, and you want to collaborate with the system and, try and put together some things that improvements or wherever you're seeing gaps and things. Do you feel like you're being heard by the system? Like, are you able to call the appropriate people to say, like, these are some of the things that would like to work on and, get some conversations going? Are you having a hard time with that, or?
No,
You
I
know.
mean, we meet once a month with Julie Graham, and I think that's been going really well this year. I think she's hearing everything, and things that we're able to get done just with us is great, but there are some broader issues that I think we'll need to bring in more people as it goes on. But I think this year we were really focused on just trying to reach out to people and just let people know we even existed, because I think that's been such a QPAC has been kind of non-existent until the past couple of years. So we're trying to let parents know that we're here and helping them where we can. So I think it's all a work in progress, and we're just trying to get our, one step at a time. But I think right now we've seen through this year what we're hearing, what parents are saying to us. That's what we're looking to fix, especially when you're hearing it multiple times. You want to make sure that if it's becoming a bigger issue, then we need to figure out how to fix the issue.
Okay.
And I think to add to that, so I don't think there's any problems with an issue comes up, we know who to reach out to, and I think most of the time the issue is fixed, right?
Yeah.
But that's a very reactionary strategy. And there's some items here that we think we can look at it as a whole and perhaps put together systemic processes to change overall so that we have less of these fire drills. Of course, that takes resourcing, that takes time, that takes creation of process, et cetera. So I think we want to hopefully get to a point where we're switching from this sort of fire drill, reactionary, to maybe looking at the issues we're seeing overall and saying, okay, where is there room to improve process?
I guess I'm happy to hear that. I mean, I'm proud of our team. I think that, they do a great job. So it's more about making sure that we have the communications open so that you can discuss some of the things and challenges that you're having, and then find ways that maybe we can address them and make them better. So as long as you feel like you're in a good place and you have that opportunity, I think that's pretty much what I'm asking. So, okay, thank you. Thank you for everything.
Mr. Kutcher?
My first reaction, based on the presentation, is gratitude, because I know how much time it takes all of you, the four of you, the five of you said there was another member of the team, to put it together. And what you presented is just so thoughtful, it's so strategic, it's so comprehensive, it's so inclusive. It's enormously helpful to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of parents and students. So incredible. I mean, just gives me chills to think how many hours that you've done and how thoughtful it's been, and it's a labor of love. The three issues that resonate, and lots of issues resonate, but the things, I support Mr. Bergoli on the winter rec. I know you were here, I think it was last year, talking about winter rec and how we need that. So whatever we could do to push that along, we won't forget it, and I know Mr. Bergoli's a great emissary there. The other thing that you mentioned is the Learning Center, and from the beginning, before we cast a single vote on a Learning Center, I wanted to make sure that parents had an opportunity to have a public meeting and a hearing on it, and everybody came, and I think we had 100 and some odd people. So your voice in how that's all structured and interaction ongoing is meaningful. So to get that feedback and keep us in a loop, super important. And then the third thing is transportation, which was also mentioned. And so you might have indicated that you're going to do a survey to talk about transportation. I would love to know when you come back before us what the results of that survey finds, if it's just, isolated incident. I mean, it troubles me that a bus driver has to call a parent to say that they're not coming. It feels to me that there needs to be a better system. And I'm not sure if that's broader than special ed, if that, how that all happens, but, so
One thing is
whatever.
the office could be open a
Yeah.
little earlier. What office is that again?
Oh, yeah, the transportation office doesn't open till 7:30, and a lot of these kids are on the bus at like 6:15.
Yeah.
So, I mean, especially the kids who are really traveling, we have a lot of kids that go out towards Newton, they're going far distances, so, and that's where,
I don't know whose role that is. That's why I just threw
Yeah.
that out there.
Well, if you could share the results of the survey, I think that would help us inform, what we could do to advocate. So, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
everything.
Okay. Mrs. Lebo?
Thank you so much, really, it was so informative, but I have a couple of questions. On the transportation challenge, I know it's bigger than just special education. We've had that across the district, as has many other districts, because of whatever happened after COVID, but still.
It's on.
Maybe I'm not close enough. But I am concerned about the no communication issue of official record of what routes were dropped, what were late. And I think that has to be something that we fix for next year, so we can really figure out what's happening. And I understand the 6:15 and the 7:30 issue is an issue. I'm not sure what the solution is, but maybe Mr. Drakeo can get back to us, or Mr. Segala can get back to us with that and find a way. The communication home seems to me like it would be a really easy fix.
yeah.
I mean,
I think it could be. I think it's a matter of just, it's almost like you need to have the same communication system across the whole like, we're starting with CARES, across the whole CARES program. Like, every student should get a communication book or something that the teacher can fill out at the end of the day, or the para, or whoever happens to grab it and just send a note. Because sometimes that's all parents need to know, is like what they did. Or there's even sheets where they can just circle things they did or add a little note. But maybe that's something that can go across all CARES classrooms so that every student has access to it.
It's really comforting to families. And then they actually, because I work in special ed, over time, sometimes it just becomes sort of as needed, but it just gives the families a sense of like trust. And it works for everyone. It's good for everyone. But we would have to, I think everybody wants it too.
And essentially, I feel like any of
both
us or
sides.
all of us would love to like partner with Jen and Julie to help bring this to fruition, and whether we pilot it with the preschool or however this looks like. But I do think, from what I'm hearing in the community, I'm hearing it more from preschool parents, because my special needs daughter is 5. But we want to help and hopefully be able to implement this together, but we understand that all the therapists are really busy, the teachers are really busy, there's constraints, and we don't want to create something that's not realistic.
Yeah,
We would
so
love to
I
work
think
together.
there's a happy medium to that. And
I think there's some of that going on in the district. I see my grandsons on a regular basis. He gets a communication home every single day. So it does happen, but if
Yeah.
it's not happening systemically, it's a problem.
Well,
It really
that's,
is a
it's
problem.
not consistent
Yeah.
across the board. Then
And so
that's-
maybe we could actually put together a group this summer to actually look at it and come up with, look at what we have, what's being used across the district, and maybe come up with something that might be a little more user-friendly for the teachers and also informative for the parents, because that's, if you have a nonverbal child and you don't know what's going on at school, it's kind of scary.
And I'm like, again, I feel like any of us are happy to share resources of what is used at the collaborative, for example, which is pictures and a checklist, and it's pretty quick, easy for them to go
kids
through.
it can be part of the kids' goals too. The kids
Right.
circle or use a dauber. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are ways
And
to
my
make it-
last thing is, have you ever heard of the South Shore SNAP program?
Yes.
So
Out of
I would
Hingham.
love to see something like that in Quincy.
That's what I'm hoping. I feel like that is so doable. I feel like we're a big city with a lot of people, and a lot of these people are really kind and want to help, and I think we can definitely. Situate also has something called the Course Foundation that's incredible, and they do programs all year long, and it's amazing.
I know South Shore SNAP actually has a week in June that they're teaching bicycle riding,
Yep.
which is huge. I
And
mean,
they have hockey.
Yeah.
They
They have-
have
yeah.
all kinds of sports. all year round. for
So
the
South
kids.
Shore SNAP is special needs athletic programs, right?
Yeah, and it's out of Hingham, yeah.
Out of Hingham, yeah. But I would love to see something, some of that stuff coming through the Recreation Department also. Thank you for all you've done, really. I agree with Mr. Guttrow. Gratitude.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lebo. Mr. Santoro.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. On the transportation issue, are you talking about mostly the out-of-school placements, or are you talking within the QPS as well for the transportation issues?
Most of what we've heard has been out of district.
Okay,
So kids going out, like, my son goes to Hull, and actually the majority of his classroom are from Quincy. So they all travel by bus. He's the only one that gets picked up. But I've heard from some of those parents, and so it's been different schools, yes, and most of them are out of district.
I know we've had issues trying to get bus drivers, but my question, maybe through you, Madam Chair, to the superintendent, do we have a penalty if people don't show up of payment?
We don't have a penalty of payment if they don't show up. It is something that, particularly during COVID and post-COVID, but this occurred even prior to COVID, our out-of-district bus transportation. There are situations where it becomes very challenging because they are having difficulty finding reliable drivers. And similar to us, the numbers of available subs are limited as well. So it absolutely is a challenge, and we work with our vendors this year to try and help the situation. As I mentioned, we went beyond our normal vendors and explored other vendors to build the capacity to cover and get more reliable service. And so we're continuing to do that. We're looking at, I think right now, we have
Comes to
about,
communication, because
Yeah.
I think what's happening is a lot of the vendors are not contacting you.
That's right.
To say that they don't have a driver, and I think that's part of the problem. And
it
then-
absolutely is. And we recently met with our largest vendor to discuss these concerns and express our frustration with regard to the lack of communication to us. But that's why we have decided to seek out other vendors that have a more reliable history, in the hopes of pulling students away from some of our larger vendors. Number one, because it gives families greater confidence in the fact that their kids will arrive to school on time, but also it relieves the larger vendors from such a large pool of students, so that if there is an absence, it won't affect as many students. And again, it's something that we've been dealing with for years, and it's not just Quincy, I have to say. This is the largest issue in our superintendent's group across the state, is the reliability of these outside vendors, because there are limited companies out there. I won't name their names, but I think everyone knows the names. And we're engaging new companies that come online every day, because I think these new companies are seeing the need and the demand for more reliable service. So as they approach us or we hear about them, we engage them and try and bring them in. So from 2 major vendors, I think we're now up to around 5, and we're asking some of the better vendors to increase their fleet and increase their drivers so that we can offer these better services to our families. So, but we absolutely want to work with you, and we'll continue to work with you, myself and the assistant superintendent and Julie. We have an excellent working relationship, and I'm hoping that together we can make improvements, certainly get feedback from parents. I think the survey will be great. Of course, Mr. Draco, with regard to the internal transportation, does a very good job with regard to managing that and making sure that there are no students missed, and I'm pretty sure he has an excellent track record with regard to that. I think what you're hearing tonight is the problems are originating from our outside vendors. We're taking steps to go to new vendors, to have them expand their own available employees to drive. And the other issue too is there's a layer of security that we require here in Quincy. I'm not sure if other districts do it, but they should. But we make sure that we do our own query and fingerprinting for all these outside vendors. And a lot of times that eliminates, for good reason, potential drivers, because we have a pretty strict system of allowing, drivers with absolutely clean records to work with our students. And so we exclude a lot of drivers that way, unfortunately, but that's for safety reasons. So there's multiple layers of challenges here, but we are working to resolve it. I look forward to working with you and putting out that survey and doing our very best to improve service. And perhaps a penalty would be
I would
something
like,
we could
I would
do.
like to see, Superintendent, some way a parent can, well, at least be informed that if a driver doesn't show up, they need to call Mr. Drakeo to report that on that particular day. And then, if they certainly accept payment for their services, and if they're not showing up, I don't know why we're paying them a full amount of money. So maybe we can work out something through the agreement that we agree that after so many losses, they won't get their stipend or whatever. But some system for a parent who's not getting the ride that day, call Mr. Drakeo, he charts it down, and then we keep record.
Yeah, I'm totally in favor of that. So if a route is missed, obviously we don't pay them. So that's absolutely certain. We're not paying them for not picking up. So in some ways, that's a penalty. But we're probably, I mean, it would be great to have a,
Yeah, that might be why they're contacting parents.
yeah, so, yeah. If we don't know, that's an issue. So we will work on that communication piece for moving forward.
But also maybe something to look at, a penalty clause within these contracts that say if you miss X percentage of your pickups in a school calendar year. I mean, I don't know if that's the standard for these types of contracts, but I certainly see that in other type of contracts.
Yeah, it's not something that is in the contracts now. It's something we can try to negotiate in. It's almost like we are kind of,
Like slim pickings, right?
we have very slim pickings. So if they refuse and they no longer want to drive for us, we're now down to, we're going back to just the two vendors or a vendor that doesn't have the capacity, whether it's drivers or fleet capacity to actually drive our students at all. So it's a real negotiation, but we will be as strict as we possibly can, to the point where they're still willing to drive for us, but we get the service that we pay for and need. And obviously, we want to make sure that our families and students are supported. So we'll do our very best to continue to work in that area. And we thank you for your help with that.
We should just get our own fleet in Quincy and hire the bus drivers out of Quincy and then just have them all do it that.
That's how our internal fleet originated, was because of problems with even the vending of the internal routes.
Or better than that, have a school where you don't have to go outside.
Yes, it has to be the right school.
You all set, Mr.
Thank you.
Santoro? Anyone else have anything else to add? No? Mr. Bergoli?
It just speaks to what I had said a couple of years ago about us looking at internally whether we can put together a school for kids with dyslexia instead of shipping them out to Landmark and keeping them home. And that eliminates the transportation problem. And the kids on the bus at 6:15 in the morning. They have a more normal school day. I just think that's something we should really look at more seriously.
Weymouth is doing it. They are opening up a school for dyslexic students
Yeah.
for elementary age.
I had a meeting with that director today. It's being done through the STARS program in Weymouth.
Yeah.
She's the former superintendent in Weymouth, and she has to meet with myself and Mrs. Perkins. So we had a very interesting conversation with her, and she reviewed her programming with us. So it's a work in progress. They're in the process of getting their state certification for the school through Chapter 766. But similar to our Learning Center, we have a similar process we have to follow. But that's being explored through their STARS program, which has been a mainstay in Quincy for after-school programming, as you know. So they're expanding into a school for dyslexia. So that's something we're looking potentially at partnering with to have another resource available for our students here in Quincy. And so, good timing. We just had that meeting today. We'll keep you up to date on that.
Superintendent Quincy always does it better.
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. So,
Yeah, did sound wonderful. I was reading up on, it's about 100 students that they should be able to take there, so that's phenomenal. That's great for,
Especially at the elementary level.
Exactly.
Get them started early, then maybe they could transition back.
yep. You all set, Mr. Bergoli? Okay. Anyone else? No?
Just wanted
Okay.
to add
Yeah.
a goal that we weren't able to add to the slide, because it's a new goal that recently came about. We have a partnership and relationship with PepsiCo and Braintree, and they have expressed a strong interest in collaborating with us in regards to the LEAD program, to have those students work at the plants, to accompany drivers out on routes, to actually do displays in stores, and it could lead to gainful employment and pay. So we weren't, it was a very last minute thing, we weren't able to add it to the slides, but super excited about that opportunity.
All right. All right. Well, seeing no other questions, I'm going to say thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yeah.
We're so excited to have you here today, so thank you so much. And with that, I will
thank you.
end our meeting. So have a great night. And move over to you.
I'd like to call the Teaching and Learning Subcommittee meeting to order, please. And our first item on our agenda, two of my favorite people from Dove are here to present on the program that they have in our schools. So if Ms. Bolton and Ms. Chandler would come up.
Soon to be three of your favorite people, because Kelly Trong is here with us also.
Excellent.
We really appreciate the opportunity to be here again this evening and to speak to you all. We know that it's a busy time of the year and you have a really full evening, so we're going to try to be as efficient as possible. And after the earlier presentation, next year we're just going to bring our students to your students to do this presentation themselves. Jen is lining up a quick video to share.
I think it might play an ad, but. All right. We're good. Great. So thank you for having us back again today. I'm Jen Bolton, the Director of Prevention and Education at Dove.
I'm Kelly Trong. I'm the Youth Speak Specialist at Dove.
And pull this up here. And so we are going to talk just a little bit about all of the programming that we did at the schools over the past year. And we also have a really short clip of a video that will show that features a lot of Quincy and North Quincy High students that have worked with us. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with what we do at Dove. This is an overview of our other services outside of the Prevention and Education Department. We're most well known for our victim services. So we have a shelter, we have counseling, we run a 24-hour hotline, we have support groups, we have attorneys, we have staff that sit at local police stations, and we also have our Prevention and Education Department that we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to start with sharing just a couple of statistics. So this is from loveisrespect.org, where we use a lot of materials and a lot of our classroom presentations. And this shares that about 1 in 3 young people will experience dating abuse during their time in high school. It also talks about that 71% of youth report being in a relationship by the time they're 15. So we know like these students are dating as young as middle school, which we're talking to a lot of those middle school students.
Teen girls are 10 times more likely to experience dating abuse than teen boys. And then only about 33% of those students ever told anyone about the abuse. And so that statistic really reinforces our peer leader model, where we're training other students to respond to this in their schools, to talk to their friends about what they're experiencing and know how to support them, know where to refer them, to know about Dove. So one of the probably most rewarding parts of having this partnership over the last year or so has been seeing the recognition from students of Kelly, myself, of Dove when we're out at any community events. And so Dove is always present at August Moon Festival, Lunar New Year, Pride, any sort of event that's going on in the city. And every single time that we have a student that comes up to us, we'll say like, oh, do you live in Quincy? Do you go to school here? And they're like, yes, you came into our classroom, over and over and over and over again. And so anytime another staff person is at an event for Dove, anytime a kid comes up to them, lives in Quincy, you came into our classroom, Dove came into our classroom. And so they're always kind of reporting that back to Kelly and I. And so it's been so rewarding for us to just see that these kids remember us. All of them know who we are. They all know about Dove. And that's really because of you all, because of your commitment to partnering with us, to having us come into the classrooms to talk about something that's happening so much that's relevant to their lives. And they're going through school knowing control in a relationship is not okay. And I know where to get help if that's to happen, whether it's to me, my friends, or somebody in my family. And so that has been an extremely rewarding part of our partnership. And I also live in Quincy. My son goes to Atherton Howe, and makes me very, very happy that this city cares about this issue, that my kids, all three of them, are going to go through, they'll go to Quincy High, and they'll know about this. They'll know this is not okay to happen in relationships. They'll have the language to understand it and describe it and know how to help a friend.
So I'm not a Quincy native. I went to Everett High School, but something that I share with students when I'm working in the community is that my district never had a healthy relationship or abuse prevention curriculum at all. In fact, a lot of things that we talk about with these students happened around me very often, but we never knew that this was considered abuse. We didn't know that there was a resource around, and a lot of people kept it to themselves or maybe told a friend. And so I think it's really powerful that we have a Youth Speak program in Quincy, just to prevent this from happening to people, but also letting them know that it's okay to seek support somewhere.
So we have this is a 5-minute video. I'm just going to show a short segment of it, but we put this together for an event that we had last year. Part of the video, or the beginning of the video, is commemorating 15 people in the state that lost their lives due to domestic violence. And a connection that we were seeing is that the average age of the folks that were killed by their partners was 36. And so very young, a lot of people in their early 20s. And so we wanted to talk to the young people that we're working with in the school about, what does that mean for you, that and your friends and your community, that this is impacting people that are your age. And so North Quincy and Quincy High students came together and filmed part of this video to talk a little bit about their work as a peer leader and the issue itself. So I'm going to start a little ways in.
Jillian Rosado, Jamal Sutson, Jamal Sutson.
We have a volume. I don't know if there's a way for someone to turn it up, but.
Desiree Lopez. Just know that many people got killed by domestic violence in my own state, the one I live in, really disturbing to me.
It's just frustrating that this could have been prevented
if they were told that they matter and they have a voice and they can have a better life without this person.
We think about the fact that had there been a program like Youth Speak in their school, would they have recognized the abusive behavior of their partner? Would they have told someone? Would they have asked for help?
We talk about what makes up a healthy relationship. We go through the relationship spectrum from healthy, unhealthy to abusive. We identify red flags of dating abuse. We also talk about how you can help your friends if they're involved in an abusive relationship and where to find support.
Honestly, the youth experience was very enlightening for me. I found it a very inspiring group to be a part of.
In order to reduce the commonality of partner abuse and how prevalent it is, we first need to talk about it.
My perspective changed drastically.
Without having that foundation, you're going into something blind.
We talk about what makes up a healthy relationship. We go through the relationship spectrum from healthy, unhealthy to abusive. We identify red flags of dating abuse. We also talk about how you can help your friends if they're involved in an abusive relationship and where to find support.
I did learn a lot of stuff that I didn't know before.
I learned that there's different ways to abuse somebody financially and emotionally, but along with like mentally, physically, and everything else.
They taught me how to detect red flags.
Also getting to know about each other and each other's backgrounds.
It's teaching why people think the way they do and how these situations can happen in the first place.
In order to save more lives, it's so important that we educate people and we also give people an opportunity to really practice skills for how they can make a difference, how they can intervene, how they can speak up for another person.
They have inspired me to step in.
I have a really great foundation now that I could identify a lot of the warning signs.
Like, I can apply it to everyday life with every situation I've ever been in, with friends, family, whoever. It doesn't just have to be a relationship with my significant other.
Domestic abuse doesn't only happen to adults, it happens to younger people. So if teenagers learn about all this early on, as they grow up, they can help more people.
Our classmates or friends that are dating and maybe experiencing these things, or maybe their parents are also dealing with these things.
The more they can have informed decisions and the more they can have informed conversations about very serious issues and topics.
You could potentially save someone one day.
We didn't talk about this when I was in school. You didn't know who was in an abusive relationship. I'm really hopeful that the more we spread this message, the greater awareness is, prevention and intervention.
A lot of these situations are preventable.
I think this is one piece of the puzzle.
I am always hopeful for a better future for survivors and victims.
This really is a community effort, aside from just Youth Speak. It requires people in their communities to actually take a stand.
These kids have made these connections and they're empowered to go out and do good in the world. And that gives me great hope.
I do think that through education and through teaching people about these things that we can get somewhere. No matter who they are, where they come from, they have resources and they are always able to get somewhere safe.
We invited some of the students that were in the video to our event so they could see projected onto the large screen our fundraiser. So these are some of the elements of the Youth Speak program. As you saw in the video, we offer peer leader training, we do classroom presentations, we offer support to faculty and staff, to students as well. There's awareness projects that peer leaders are invited to participate in throughout the year, and then we'll talk a little bit about our summer program as well. So we'll go quickly through our numbers for the year. We have them broken out into classroom presentations, the number of students reached, and peer leaders. So we worked with Tim Smith at Quincy High School, and he was able to plug us into his health classes, into their long blocks, so into 90-minute blocks. So we were able to spend like an extensive amount of time talking with each of those groups of students, doing a lot of interactive activities, answering questions, having great dialogue. And then we did a peer leader training there in November. We did 3, we call them cafeteria events. So we have a table set up, and we always do that during February, Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. And students can come over to the table. We have healthy relationship quizzes. We give out carnations, and they can fill out Valentine's. And so it's like a very positive, healthy relationship focused event where students can get to know about us, but then also learn a little bit about healthy relationships.
And what you see here with the picture on the top left with the red sticky notes, this was part of our February kind of activity we did to spread awareness. On the left side, we were doing hashtag healthy love is. On the right, we did hashtag unhealthy love is. So students would come up, kind of participate and share examples of healthy relationship behaviors, unhealthy ones, and win a carnation. So a great way just to like spread awareness.
So at North Quincy, we were able to do 2 peer leader trainings. And so we trained 45 students. And so the peer leader training is an extended long day where they spend 5 hours with us, really learning about all the ins and outs of healthy, unhealthy, abusive relationships, how to support a friend, healthy breakups, abuse and technology, jealousy, walk through a lot of scenarios. And so we're really able to do a lot of great training with those students there.
This is also the February event we had at North Quincy. So you can see we had a large crowd at our table, lots of students contributing to our activity there, and a lot of people were pulling over their friends as well.
And this is an overview of our middle school workshops. And so we have 1 workshop to 6th graders, 2 workshops to 7th graders, and 3 to 8th graders. And then you can see some of the topics that we cover with each of those. Our goal really maybe 5 or so years ago was to start doing this, having these conversations younger and younger. And so talking to students before they start dating or as they start dating. And so, if we're talking to seniors, they might have already been in these relationships and seen these dynamics. And so if we're starting in 6th grade, talking about healthy friendships and looking at healthy boundaries and navigating equality and ending healthy friendships, unhealthy friendships, we're hoping those skills can carry over to relationships. So Point Webster, we had 29 individual classroom presentations. So that's Dove, staff, Kelly, or I, and our graduate level interns going into the classroom and leading a full class presentation that's interactive on healthy and unhealthy relationships. We have some, you all have the handout, so if you want to read more, we put some notable moments under each. At Central, we had 28 classroom presentations and reached 457 students. There were 3, I think, new health teachers in the middle school this year. So there was a lot of relationship building, getting to know some of these teachers, letting them know about what our program is, how to work with us, what we can offer. And so hoping that those health teachers are around next year so we can keep building on that momentum.
At Broad Meadows, we worked with Cody Richard, who's the new teacher there. He's very supportive of our program also. Coming to Broad Meadows, students remembered us immediately from last year, and a lot of students during these discussions were able to share examples in their own lives and connected to the material, and so they got a lot out of our curriculum, and it was a really great time there. With Atlantic here, this year we had 40 classroom presentations and we were able to reach about 426 students. So with Atlantic, we worked with a curtain to schedule these here, and we were able to connect with students, and we also had some students talk to staff for support and advice after. At Southwest, we worked with Donna Kent as always, 27 classroom presentations. We reached about 232 students. Moving on to staff perception.
So then we always send out a survey at the end of each year just to hear back from teachers about our workshops, what they thought worked great, what's most relevant to students, what they'd like to see us talk about more next year, and so included some of those here. We also this year implemented, thanks to Kelly, a program called Calendly, and so we have a booking page where we can send out this link to any teachers and they can automatically book us to come into their class just by clicking on a link. And so in years past, it was a lot of back and forth of, can you do the 29th at 10:36? And then 3 days later, someone else books that. And so now it's like a live calendar that they can just book right into. And so that's been really, really effective at streamlining scheduling. This is some feedback. So we also get feedback from peer leaders after we do these full day trainings with them. And so we're able to hear from them about what they enjoyed, what they want to hear more about, why they came to the session. So this is our Youth Advocate Summit flyer from last year. I think this might be this coming summer, our 8th year doing this. And so we are going to offer 2 week-long or 4-day-long 20-hour summits for Quincy and North Quincy High students. Every year we've done them, including last year, they always sell out. So we had, I think, 50 kids last year, hoping to have the same this year. And we just spend a week with them really digging into all of this. It's fun, they build relationships, and we're talking about dating and relationships and how to navigate all that. So these are some pictures from last year. We had them do some posters. They all get some Dove Peer Leader t-shirts, some feedback from the students. Almost always we have students say, this should be 5 days, or this should be an overnight camp. And so this is our last slide here of just what a continued partnership would mean. Presentations to all Quincy Public School students, leadership opportunities for students, awareness projects, on-site summits for students, relationship building with Dove staff and students, and with school staff and Dove staff, so that there can be a warm referral. So we have a children's witness to violence program at Dove, and so we have a staff person that can meet with students who have experienced abuse in their own relationships or experience that at home, and so we can connect people directly, and they can come on site or have virtual meetings for counseling and support. And then we also can continue to offer the training for staff and help with any advisement on policies and disclosures related to students. So thank you all very much. It was a great year, and we're looking forward to doing more.
We're definitely getting some traction, so that we've done this for 2 years, and the city's investment in this is really starting to yield some, you can tell when you go to subsequent years when students have been through, last year and now they're going into the next grade. They're getting some of the vocabulary and the skill around how to talk about this stuff. So it's making a difference.
Mr. Gattro.
You can go
No, you can go. I forgot what I was going to say already.
I am super proud of this program and really excited. I love the update. I was a fan of this before, Sue knows, and Emily, big fans, and just integrating it, especially into the high schools and into the middle schools. And it's good to see the reach, the activity measures, the reach, who you're reaching. I love the peer, the peer leaders. Yeah, I mean, you see peer leaders at so many different levels, and you just want to know, am I reaching everybody? Am I getting to everybody that's out there? And so the 2 things that I think about, because you're doing the reach, is one, the integration with the staff in the buildings. In other words, if you educate the kids and the kids see the trigger and they realize that they might be in an abusive relationship, who are the safe people to go to? And it sounds like the health teachers, number one, is part of it. But I just want to understand, our guidance staff briefed on the program? Are all staff, do they get at least a flyer to understand that any student could reach out to anybody because you're a safe space? This is who you go to if they're around it. And then I had a comment about social media that I wanted to mention afterwards.
Yeah, so sort of the last slide of every classroom presentation we do has where to go in your school for help. So that's part of the problem is solved, is that students know where to go for help. But yes, we want to make sure that when they go to that person knows how to respond and support them. And so at the beginning of this year, we did a PD on a half day, I think, for all the health teachers in the middle schools. And then in the past, that's something that we've done at North Quincy for all staff, more folks. Something we absolutely love to do again is just even something brief that's just, this is who we are. And, if you have a student that's experiencing this, you can call us. And you don't have to be the expert, but you know where to get support from.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the connection that's so important for QPS staff to know that they need to be receptive and understand what the signs are and the issues are, so that you've empowered the students to reach out and speak up if they're in a tough spot. And so the staff need to be aware enough that they know how to navigate it and they know where to go to navigate it. So I just want to make sure that those pieces are plugged in to this. And then, you know, is there, and this is more a discussion maybe for Erin or whoever, is this plugged into the curriculum? Do we discuss it outside of when you're in the classroom to talk about healthy relationships? Maybe it's part of the health curriculum. And then the last piece, and of course it's the older grades, where the other item that's on the agenda afterwards is digital literacy, which I love, but we're talking about digital literacy for the younger grades. But you know, social media is just the place for bullying and doing some of the things that are absolutely horrible. And I'm just wondering how we or how you talk about the use of social media in this context for the middle schoolers as well as the high schoolers. And again, if we connect the dots with the staff and the health teacher and the guidance counselors in the schools about monitoring that and all of that. So can you just briefly touch on that?
Sure, yeah. So we have a whole section in, I think it's our 7th grade workshop, and then we are still talking about it in 8th grade and in high school, as well as talking about what is that controlling if your partner wants to know the password to your phone? What does it mean if they want you to have your GPS location on? We have a newer activity where we put in actual examples of text threads and conversations and ask students, like, you know, is this normal or is this manipulative? Is this trying to isolate you? Is this volatile? And trying to get them to connect these concepts to actual relatable text threads. Yeah.
To answer this question also, we also emphasize the importance of having digital privacy and that everyone has a right to that, especially doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or if you're single. If you want your phone to be private to yourself, that's all you. And we also talk about like the impact of media and how messages or images about relationships on social media can really give us like false impressions of what's healthy and what's not. So we also talk about that part as well.
Kelly runs a great You Speak Instagram page that is just constantly updating with healthy relationship content and, you know, examples about songs that are popular and TV shows and celebrity couples and things like that that are maybe displaying healthy or unhealthy relationship dynamics.
Finally, I just want to say that I've been a big fan of Sue and Dove for many, many years. And this program and the work that you two ladies have done is just another shining example of why Dove is so important to our city and to the South Shore. So keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Cahill.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation and your work. My question is, you know, we're educating, first of all, how many years have we been doing this here?
It's
This
the
is
end
the
of
second
year, yeah.
And in this 2 years, we started with 6 to 8 as well, or was they just coming in this year?
The
The middle school. Did you do that last year? I
Yes.
think you might
Yeah,
have.
we've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, we
but-
have, Dove
yeah.
has been doing this work for many, many years in Quincy and North Quincy high schools
Yeah.
particularly, and the last 2 years has been the system-wide with all the middle school.
With all the middle schools.
Yeah.
Because I do think, what, to your point, you know, having it, the continuity, you know, starting with a smaller conversation and having the continuous conversation throughout the years starts to really build that knowledge with the students, right? But I think my question is also, do we do any outreach with parents to kind of educate them on what to look for if their kids or students maybe are having, you know, relationships that they don't think are healthy, and how to get them to have a conversation with their students? Do we do that?
Yes. So I think it was last year we did a couple of virtual parent academies. Is that what they're called?
Yep.
And so presented this material to them, talked about exactly what we're doing in the classroom. We had prompts of like ways to bring up, you know, these conversations and how to talk about your own relationships and do things in a natural way. So that's something we would love to do. It's easy for us to do. It's virtual. We can, you know, hop on. So would be happy to do that.
I think that's important too, because then it helps to, I mean, you know, I'm a parent of 4 girls, you know, and so I've seen all kinds of relationships coming through. And I think that it's a important way to kind of get parents to learn how to open up a conversation with their kids if they're thinking, they could be thinking something's happening and not really sure. And then it might be a good way to kind of give them the dialogue of, how to present some of that conversation to their kids.
Absolutely.
So,
It's so important, yeah.
Yeah, but
Thank
thank you
you.
for everything. Thank you.
Mr. Santoro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A while back, Mara worked very hard at trying to do presentations, and that's just what we did. We did presentations, and it was over. The yellow dress, the white ribbon campaign, very valuable things. But I just wanted to thank you for upping the presentation, because now it seems to be more of, this is what we do, this is why we're here. And scheduling to me was always an issue. It seems as though you have worked that out quite well, because as you go through the different grades and you adapt to the different schools, trying to schedule that is probably the hardest job in this whole package. So I thank you for doing that, and our kids are real lucky to have you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Hobley.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for all that you're doing, and this is fabulous. I know this program's been around for a long time. My daughter actually took it when it was at the Eastern Nazarene College campus for a home. And I love how you've evolved the program to the needs of the students and what they're needing to have exposure to. I think that's wonderful. So thank you so much.
The city's investment has really made that possible for us to grow it, so thank you.
Ms. Margoli.
I want to thank you as well. The safety of our kids is so important. It's the most important thing that we do. So I want to thank you for that. It goes both ways. It's not just girls or females who are put in these positions. It's males also. And I'm not sure that some people understand that, because that can be just as toxic situation. I was wondering, did you ever consider talking to all the coaches? Because they spend almost as much time in the school in a short period of time as a teacher does the whole year with their students, with their players. So have you thought about doing that?
We would love to do that. We work with someone at Curry College that does that kind of training with all of the Curry College athletes. And so we had spoken to them about, like, could we talk with you about how you do that? Because we would love to do that with sports teams in Quincy. So we are ready. All we have to do is have them let us in.
The reason
So,
I'm saying
yeah.
that is because that's just another person that the kids can go to.
Yeah.
And they establish a relationship, a very close relationship with that person that's coaching them. So I think it's important. If you can do that, that'd be great.
Absolutely. We would love to.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you also mentioned that about young men also experiencing this. And it's something that we've talked about in the way that we present our content, is intentionally using some videos and examples that show a straight relationship where a girl is abusing a guy, to show that, like, we're not just saying it happens, to anyone, to men, to women, to anyone, that this is some, very relatable examples. And that really can get a lot of buy-in, I think, from some of the young men in the class that might kind of feel like we're coming in and talking to them about what they shouldn't do. And it's like, no, this is something that you can experience as well.
Thank you, Mr. Margoli. I just have a couple of questions. First of all, to Mr. Guttrow's point, I believe this is an integral part of our social emotional learning curriculum. So I'm thrilled that you're in there. And I love the content that you're teaching at the middle school. It's so important. Just about friendships, because that's a huge problem at the middle school. Healthy friendships are a huge problem. I'm a little disappointed in the number of students you're reaching at the high school, and I know that's a hard thing because of the scheduling. But do you have a champion in both high schools who's helping you with this?
Yes. So I think the health classes are relatively newly implemented, or our connection to Tim Smith was newly implemented last year, maybe. And so we would love to reach more students. We'd love to go to the freshman, not sure what they call it, the health orientation or whatever cycle that students go through when they're freshmen, in addition to the health grade, the 10th grade health classes. And then at North Quincy, Caitlin Plaskivides is doing a lot of this content in her health classes already, and talked with us about there being like a special education health class next year that she'd like to plug us into doing some work with them. And so this year we focused on doing some of the more intensive peer leader trainings. But we are available and ready to meet with more students and offer support to more students.
Yeah, and I think we're claiming that we're doing it, so I think that we should maybe find a way to make sure that we are getting you in the classes that you need to get into. This is amazing. It really is an amazing program. I want to thank the mayor for coming up with the funding for this program a couple of years ago, because it's just so important. I love the consent thing. When I heard we never talked about consent in the Quincy Public Schools, it's a little scary. So I'm thrilled, and now I do have a new best friend.
Good.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is the digital literacy update. And our digital literacy teachers are here to present.
I think we're just on another tab. Yeah. No, I got it. Oh. There it is. Oh, God, I can't read it. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
I'm Betsy Sariani, and I have been a teacher in Quincy Public Schools for over 20 years. I taught second grade. This is my first year doing digital literacy. Can you hear me? Sorry, I don't like speaking into the mic. So I've always loved technology. I used it in my classroom all the time. And then when the pandemic hit, I said, oh, this is my chance to shine. I used it teaching remotely. I taught summer school remotely, and then, don't worry, it was during the pandemic. I had teachers over. We were 6 feet apart in the backyard, and I taught the teachers things about remote learning. And when this position came up, I said, oh, this sings to me. This is definitely what, it's a great fit for me, and I absolutely love digital literacy. I can't say enough about it. I thought I knew a lot before, but I've learned so much from Beth and Kim, and just the standards that we teach and the programs that we do, it's amazing. It really is, and I can truly say I love my job. Yeah, you can take mine.
Good evening. Thank you for coming. Thank you for having us. I'm Elizabeth Kelly. I'm one of the original staff members of this, since this program was in its inception in 2018. So this is my 5th year as a digital literacy specialist. Prior to that, I was at Lincoln Hancock as a 2nd and 4th grade teacher. So for me, it's been great seeing the program change over the past 5 years through a pandemic, what it looked like when nobody was using technology to what it looks like now. It's been a fun ride. It's a great program, and that's why I'm still here. So,
Hi, my name is Kim Walsh. I'm finishing up my 19th year here in Quincy Public Schools. I joined the digital literacy team in its 2nd year in 2019. Prior to that, I was a classroom teacher at Beechwood Knoll. I taught 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th grade. And thank you for having us. We're really excited to show you all the amazing things we're doing.
So what we did for the presentation is we broke it out by strand of the standards, and we'll talk a little bit about what it looks like in each of the grades. We currently are working with all the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders in the city, and we'll show you some examples of some lessons and most importantly, some videos of the kids in action. And so we're ready to start. So Nancy's gonna, yep.
Yeah, these are the 4 strands that we'll show you.
So the first one is computing and society, and these are our big ideas. Digital citizenship. In 3rd grade, we concentrate on online privacy. 4th grade, we concentrate on online safety and evaluating websites. And 5th grade, using emails, clickbait, and cyberbullying. And I'll talk a little about that. We talk about creating strong passwords. We express the importance of not using personal information like your name, your address, your phone numbers, or something that's really easy for others to figure out. We talk about what cyberbullying is and how to deal with it. They know what bullying is, in person, but they didn't really understand that, it happens online as well. So we go into depth about that and what to do if they see or hear about it. For the 3rd grade, we do a Garfield online privacy and what you should and not share online. It's good in school, obviously, but it's also good for when they're at home, online gaming, and they can, they don't realize, they think that they're talking to a friend or somebody their age. And when we say, well, you don't really know who that is, and, you don't give out your personal information, and then they understand, I really shouldn't be doing that. So we also talk about evaluating websites. It's especially important when the students are working on their research projects, and we give them the tools on how to detect the credibility of online resources. They participate in activities where they have to compare a real website, a legitimate one, and then a hoax one. So it's really good for them to see the differences and what to look for. We do talk about the dangers of clickbaiting. They're like, it's a waste of your time. You just keep clicking. I said, well, there's a little more to that. You could download a virus. Somebody could steal your personal information. And then they create their own clickbait slides. So it's really cool. You can see that that's one of the examples. And then one thing you'll see in the video is a lesson on email. So we do teach the 5th grade how to compose an email and what the important parts are and what informal and formal language they should be using. And they do send us an email. It's kind of comical. And I've responded to every single one of them. So it is great practice for them, and it's a lifelong skill that they're going to need. And then, we're going to show you a video.
About your favorite music, movies, and sports teams. Click true or false. That's right. Posting about your favorite music, movies, and sports teams is fine. Just be sure not to give away any personal information. It's okay to post your age or the year you were born. Click true or false.
That would be false.
Good job. Your age or the...
All right, Jadwin, what's an example of something that we should not share online?
Your full name.
Jinan, what's an example?
Your parents' phone number.
I enjoyed learning about how to not get scammed online and be really safe.
There we go. So the next strand that we're going to talk about is digital tools and collaboration. And this is where you can really see at this program as a continuum from 3 to 5, where we start with the skills in 3rd grade and build on it every year. And this is where we focus on our keyboarding and also the Google apps. So we introduced Typing Agent in third grade, and that is the city-funded typing program. So in third grade, we introduce where to place your fingers on the keyboard, the home row. They practice that. We introduce them to Typing Agent, and Typing Agent will continue through 4th and 5th grade. And we also introduce basic Google Slide skills like inserting images and text boxes, very simple. And in 4th grade, they continue with Typing Agent, and we'll do more advanced Google Slide skills, such as creating your own presentation, naming it, doing backgrounds, adding new slides, and then also keyboard shortcuts for them. And we'll also start to introduce Google Docs, how to format a doc, how to do paragraph alignment, choosing good fonts for your presentations, just strategies for them. And then in 5th grade, we get into advanced Google slide skills where we'll do transitions, animations, custom color, layering, all the things that they can do to make really interactive presentations. And then we'll put that together in a end of the year stop motion project where they create a movie using Google Slides and using all the skills that they've learned. So in 3rd grade, it's very basic with just a simple moving something across the screen. In 4th grade, they'll learn some more techniques, and they'll tell a story like you'll see in the video. They had to create a trap for a leprechaun. And then in 5th grade, we take it one step further and they have to collaborate. So they understand how to use Google Slides and how to make a presentation. Now, what if you worked with a group and you wanted to have it present across your screens? What would be things you'd need to take into consideration?
When you grow up, you would need to keep your hand on the home row and not just peck the keys. Georgia's state fruit is a peach. Peaches are so well known in Georgia that Georgia's nickname is the Peach State.
Ashuria, if your thing doesn't work, I'll be so mad at you.
No, you should be mad at my Chrome.
I'll be mad at you. Oh, yo, let's go. Please? Yeah.
So the next one is computing systems. And the big idea is how do computers work? It's a little self-explanatory, but in 3rd grade, we do the external computer parts, teaching them about input and output as well. We do 4th grade is internal computer parts, and 5th grade is the hardware and software and what their jobs are. As you can see there, the 4th graders will build a paper laptop complete with the keyboard, monitor, screen, and then inside is the internal parts. We explain what input and output devices are. We do Nearpods activities for these, which is an interactive game for them with slides. We also do identifying external parts of the computer in 3rd grade and internal parts in the 4th grade with the Nearpod activity. And then we also do in 5th grade, we do the internal parts and how they work. We talk about like the CPU, the fan, all the different parts and what it is that they actually do.
And then last but not least is computational thinking. This is where we have the most fun. This is where we get into coding. I'm gonna skip this one and just kind of explain everything that was on that one, on this one. In third grade, one of the things that we really hone in on is teaching the coding vocabulary. If you walk into any third, fourth, or fifth grade classroom, every kid should be able to tell you that an algorithm is a list of steps. A program is an algorithm that can be run by a computer. A bug is a mistake in code. Debugging is finding and fixing those mistakes. We really focus on the vocabulary so that when they're coding, they actually understand what it is that they're doing, you know? In third grade, we use an app that's on every student's Chromebook called Scratch Junior, and that's as an introduction to coding. They absolutely love it, and it's really simple, and a lot of kids go home and download the app on their iPads. And then you'll also see in the video that they use Botley robots. These are little blue robots, and then you'll see on the floor they have little coding cards that they have to lay out their algorithm, and then they input their algorithm, and then the Botley robot performs the program. In fourth grade, we use code.org to practice block coding. They practice sequencing, debugging, loops. You'll see one of their favorite coding activities in fourth grade is the Dash Olympics. The kids have to code the Dash robots to compete in 5 different Olympic events. One of the events that's in the video is the basketball. You'll see the Dash robot shooting the basketball. We also have downhill skiing, curling, figure skating, speed skating, and they love that day in digital literacy. In 5th grade, we introduced Scratch. This is a little bit more complicated, but still uses Blockly for the coding language. And you'll see that the kids design a Google Doodle where they animate and design a Google logo of their choice. And then in 5th grade, we also use Q robots. You'll see that in the video as well. The kids, they're similar to the Dash robots that you'll see in the Dash Olympics, but it's a little bit more advanced, and it introduces JavaScript as opposed to Blockly, so it's a little bit more of an advanced coding language. And then the very last thing in the video is called Makey Makey. It will look like a student playing the piano on Play-Doh, but what it really is it uses Scratch, and it's a circuit board that basically takes a conductor, which is the Play-Doh. We've used bananas, we've used any kind of conductor will work, and it takes the place of some of the keys on the keyboard. So the kids are touching the Play-Doh, but it's actually using some of the keys on the keyboard, so pretty fun.
So Leilani, what have you loved about digital literacy?
Dash Olympics.
Nice job.
Oh wait. We're doing the complicated. Yes. Yes. Miss Ariani, look at it. Says you could use like infinity blocks, and you could like do it any way you can. So I decided to make him do a staircase. Watch this. And he's going up to the acorn.
Awesome. I love it. Great coding.
For this, when you click space, they start to go, but when you click on the letters, they will disappear. But it's hard to click on them.
So it's like a game.
So it's a game, and then if you do click one and you press up arrow, it'll come back.
Awesome.
And then if you click them all, you'll just press up arrow, and then they'll all come back.
Awesome. Can you do the full screen?
Sure.
So we can see it? Love it. Excellent job.
So we're gonna be coding the cube robot down there, as you can see. We're gonna be doing period, move, then parentheses, 25, comma, 20, another parentheses, and this turn, and then we're gonna do 90.
And what coding language are you using?
We're using Java. I'm gonna do move, 25, 20, and we're gonna click the start.
So we're coding. It's full of mistakes. Now we're gonna. But that makes you stronger. So it's always good. Nice. Congratulations. You go first.
And I think there's,
Yep.
I think there's one more. We had, we had just a couple of kids. We asked, what do you like about digital literacy? It's less than a minute long.
I like digital literacy because, first of all, we get to do more hands-on. Second of all, I like coding, and this is just simple and understandable. It's fun, and then we get to skip a class.
Liked coding and digital literacy because I'm a big fan and I want to become a game programmer when I get older. My favorite part of digital literacy is getting to overcome the problems because I like making a plan to do them. I like digital literacy because I like coding and stuff like that because I do robotics and it's fun. What I like about digital literacy is everything. Everything is great.
Thank you so much. Mr. Santoro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very popular, I can tell. You all must be popular with the kids. I could see the results through this year's Lego robotics competitions. I mean, the number of kids that showed up for that and just amazing. How do you schedule this? How often in each school? How does this work grade-wise?
So I would say it varies from school to school, but on average, we're assigned to one school per day. And so we'll see the kids once every 3 weeks if we're seeing 3, 4, and 5. So on one, Monday, we'll see the entire 3rd grade. The next week, we'll see the entire 4th grade, and so on. So roughly 9 sessions a year, which for each grade.
Also, especially for the computing to society, a parent presentation would be really good at a PTO meeting, if you haven't done that already.
No, we haven't.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Guttrow.
I love digital literacy. It's so important, and I mean, you guys have just exploded and done so many great things. So in 2017, I ran for school committee, and technology at that moment had dominated our homes, had dominated our workplaces, but it wasn't integrated in student learning in a way that it is now, that it needed to be. And I remember having, at the time, my boys were in middle school, and middle school, high school, they had assignments that needed to be typed and submitted, never had a typing class. They got their iPhones, I think it was freshman year, no idea how to type. That it was, and this was just simple keyboarding. I mean, I remembered it was an elective at Quincy High School when I went, and I took it, and I've used it throughout my whole life. And so that was one element that it was just astonishing to me that simple keyboarding wasn't part of it. But also, web surfing and research. And, I used to have to go to Thomas Crane Library and look at the books. They have the world at their fingertips there and how to do that. And then privacy protection and cyberbullying were very important. And then you guys get into the hardware and the software and the coding and all of that. And so from 6 years ago when I first ran to where we are now, I'm super proud that of all that has been accomplished at practically every grade level. I do have one question. So I know we're focused on 3 to 5. I know that we've had the opportunity to talk about middle school as well as high school before. Kids are learning technology at home younger than ever, and, you know, I mean, super young. So I'm asking about second grade, first grade, kindergarten, and the fact that we probably don't provide Chromebooks to the younger kids, and what the introduction is at those levels. Just weigh in on your opinion, and maybe this is above your pay grades and it has to go to Aaron, who could talk about it. But, you know, I really think that digital literacy needs to expand. I think that to the younger grades as well, and that the access to technology does not need to just be episodic on a cart, but in front of them. And, you know, we're faced with, you know, aging Chromebooks, and how do we replenish the fleet? That was an expense that, how many years ago, 3-4 years ago, wasn't even in our budget, and now we have to figure out how to institutionalize it in the budget. So any comments on that?
I'd love to speak to that. So we're, right now, because with the grant money that we've received over the past few years after the pandemic, 3, 4, and 5 are pretty much, they're one-to-one. So every student in 3, 4, and 5 has a Chromebook for them. So that meant all of the Chromebooks in the schools trickle down to K1 and 2. So they're widely available. I think what was happening was it's overwhelming to think about logging a kindergartner on to Google with their QPS email address. And so teachers kind of backed off. I've seen that change since we adopted Clever this year, because it's a single sign-on where kids can flash a QR code and automatically be signed on to the Chromebooks. So I am seeing more and more teachers using the Chromebooks with them. But what you're saying about kids learning the technology at home, we're already having to undo incredibly bad habits with the kids, because we have these conversations in 3rd grade where their first exposure to typing is chatting with friends. So when we post things for them to work on, we're getting a lot of text talk, we're getting abbreviations, we're getting emojis, and we have to discuss what's formal, what's informal. So we're already having those conversations in 3rd grade because they are using the technology at such a young age. So we would love to see the program expand to K1, 2 in some way to work with them, because they are on a lot. So
Technology demo. It's a demo.
Jumps in.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on my phone now.
Thank you. Anybody else? Nancy?
No.
So
Okay.
there are Chromebooks available to the younger kids, so just.
They did get the old Chromebooks,
Yeah.
so they are on carts. They are, some of them not in very good shape. They're old. So replenishing, you know?
But as far as us being able to see K1 and 2, would shortchange the older kids. So I don't know how that, you know, if we could see K1 and 2, would end up seeing 3, 4, and 5 less than we already do.
And last question. If you looked into the crystal ball, changes for the future, like where do you think we need to evolve or change? So let's just stick with 3 to 5, grade level 3 to 5. Is there anything?
We, ideally, in a perfect world, we would love to just have a digital literacy teacher at every school that just services that school K to 5.
Great. Excellent. Thank you.
Ms. Cahill?
I don't really have a question as much as a comment, but I think that what I like about this is it's not just about how to use your computer. It's learning about how they work. Also, what I think is really important is, you know, how to identify websites. All that kind of stuff is really important, because as they get older and they're going to start doing research and all that kind of stuff, where to get their information. The coding piece is incredible, because that's really where we're going for the workforce, for an example, and what's happening in the workforce for kids and, adults and people stepping into that. So I think that's amazing. That's really a great skill set for the kids to learn. And I will say, if there's any way my husband can jump into a literacy every 3 weeks, I think it would be once every 3, it'd be great, especially the pecking at the, he'll do a whole paper on sorry, Tim, if you're listening, on an iPad, a whole document by just, I'm like, how are you doing that, you know? So I think that what they're learning are skill sets that we maybe necessarily didn't learn. And having the curiosity to really understand how it all works really helps when you're using these tools, you know? So I think it's great work. My question is, so the digital standards that you put in place, are they statewide curriculum? Is that what the Massachusetts statewide, so you're going by that? Okay, so great, but thank you. I think it's amazing curriculum, and it's really impactful, so thank you.
I have a couple of questions. This probably is not to you, but I'm concerned about the fifth graders at Point Webster and Southwest are not getting this content. So,
Yeah, they have a technology class, but it's not called digital literacy. It's called something else.
And I, yeah.
And you met with them?
No, I see the kids at Lincoln and Marshall, so I'm missing them at Point and Southwest. And
So we probably should take
I'm
a-
sad about it. The kids are sad about it. You know, they said, okay, what are we doing next year in fifth grade? And I think it's just a manpower.
It is, yeah, I know. And I would love to see you be able to get into the classrooms more than 9 times, or have more than 9 exposures to the kids, because this is really important. And I think the idea of a parent academy is great, too. It really is so important for the parents to hear this stuff. My other question was artificial intelligence. Have you figured out what that is? Because once you do, would you come back and present to us? Are the kids talking about it? I mean...
You know, there's some term, you know, the chat GPT, all like that's being thrown around. They're aware, but they're still young, I think, too.
I'm not young, and I'm barely aware myself. Anybody else? Mr. Baroli?
When I was younger, pecking was pretty good. Something to look forward to. I'm just amazed at how much Quincy Public Schools offers the kids in the school system.
It's awesome.
It's incredible. I mean,
It is.
it's not just the 3 R's that are happening in Quincy Public Schools. It's everything else. And this credit goes to the superintendent, the SLT, and everybody involved there. I'm just amazed by it. And I think we're so lucky to be in this city with the ability to have all this stuff for our kids. So I just think it's amazing. We have to be so far ahead of everybody else.
I agree, Mr. Baroli. I think it's amazing what we offer our kids. I just would like to see it be equitable and make sure that what's ever happening in the 5th grade at those 2 schools is the same kind of content. So however we figure that out, we don't have to figure it out.
I would like to figure it out. I'd like to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.